Have you ever stopped to think about just how crazy the medical math has become in Port Charles lately? It is honestly wild that we have a whole town full of people who just accept whatever tragedy happens next without asking any questions. But finally, thank goodness, Elizabeth Weber is stepping up and using some basic common sense. She is looking at the situation and realizing that things are just not adding up at the Quartermain property. Think about it for a second, because the statistics here are actually kind of hilarious if they weren't so scary. You have two completely healthy, active men who both supposedly suffered massive strokes in the exact same living room only 3 months apart. Elizabeth is the only person smart enough to realize that this is statistically ridiculous. While everyone else is busy with mob wars or secret shootings, Liz is the one standing in the corner of the hospital realizing that the math is broken. Don't you find it strange that no one else has noticed this yet? It's like the writers finally remembered that Liz is a head nurse who actually knows how a human body works. She isn't just chasing clues like she's some kind of private eye, she's just looking at medical charts and using her brain. The funny thing is that this entire house of cards is starting to fall apart because of Nina Reeves' classic lack of impulse control. We all know Nina can't stay out of trouble, but this time she really outdid herself. She was in the middle of a struggle with Valentine Cassadine and Jack Brennan, and in a moment of pure panic, she accidentally jabbed Brennan with a syringe. But it wasn't just any syringe. It was the exact same drug that Willow has been using to keep Cain trapped in his own body. Can you imagine the sheer terror Nina must have felt when she realized she'd just taken down a WSB agent by mistake? Now Brennan is lying in the ICU with the exact same, locked-in symptoms as Drew. And that is where Liz comes in, because she's seeing the pattern. She saw Nina's eyes go wide with panic the second she mentioned Willow being home with Drew. It's like Nina realized right then and there that she'd handed Liz the smoking gun on a silver platter. What is really getting me is this new version of Willow Tait. We spent years watching her be the saint of Port Charles, the woman who is almost too good to be true. But now, Caitlin McMullen is absolutely killing it as this unhinged, dark version of Willow. The actress even said herself that playing this naughty nurse version of the character is exhilarating and totally out of her comfort zone. It's a complete 180-degree turn. Willow isn't just protecting herself, she is actively torturing her husband. She shot him, got a not guilty verdict, and then decided that wasn't enough. She wanted him incapacitated, so she's been drugging him to keep him from telling the truth. Have you noticed those little smirks she gives when she thinks no one is looking? It's chilling to think that she's been putting on this massive performance as a devastated wife, while she's actually the one holding the needle. Psychologically, it's like Willow has finally snapped after years of being everyone's punching bag. She spent so long being controlled by people like her mother Harmony, and now she's the one holding the power. But that power is making her sloppy. She was so busy playing the role of the grieving spouse that she didn't realize Liz was actually paying attention to Drew's blinking. Liz is looking at those rapid eye movements and seeing an SOS signal, not just a medical reflex. And honestly, why wouldn't Drew be trying to signal for help? He's a former Navy SEAL, for crying out loud. His training is literally designed for him to stay calm and wait for an opening in a high-stress situation. He's sitting in that wheelchair, listening to his wife and mother-in-law plot against him, and he's just waiting for one missed dose. And that missed dose finally happened. Nina was so freaked out about Brennan collapsing that she completely forgot to give Drew his scheduled injection. It's the first real break Drew has had in months. He started regaining movement in his hand, and it was such a high-stakes moment. You could practically feel the tension as he struggled to reach for that landline. It was like a scene out of a horror movie where the victim is just inches away from the phone. But then Willow walks in and just snatches it away. The way she scolded him, saying that no one can be trusted to watch him except her, was just pure villainy. Don't you think that was the moment where she officially lost any chance of redemption? She's not just confused or traumatized anymore. She's a jailer. Now, the real game changer is going to be when Elizabeth goes to Dante Falconeri with her suspicions. These two have been getting closer lately, especially after Liz helped him figure out who really shot Ross Cullum. It turns out it was Dante's own son, Rocco, which is just another mess on top of everything else. But Liz and Dante have this trust building up. If she tells him that something is medically wrong with the strokes at the Quartermain house, Dante is going to listen. He's already in a state of mind where he's tired of the secrets and the lies. If they team up to rescue Drew, it could be the start of a whole new power couple in Port Charles. Do you think Dante and Liz are a better fit than her and Rick Lansing? It definitely feels like their shared sense of justice is pulling them together. And let's not forget about Michael Corinthos. He is running his own separate game to take Willow down. He thinks he's being clever by trying to catch her in an affair with Chase, but he has no idea that the truth is so much darker. Can you imagine his face when he finds out that while he was hiring photographers to follow her to the park, she was actually busy drugging his uncle? It's going to be the shock of a lifetime for him. Michael is playing checkers while Willow is playing a very deadly game of chess. The irony is that Michael's plan might actually end up providing the evidence Liz needs. If those photos show Willow acting too normal, or if they capture her meeting with someone like Jen Sidwell, it's all over for her. Speaking of Sidwell, that guy is a major problem. Willow thinks she's in control, but she's dealing with a man who is ready to kill Drew the second he becomes a liability. Willow is basically playing with fire and hoping she won't get burned. But we all know how this goes in soaps. The secrets always come out, and usually they blow up in the most spectacular way possible. If Drew actually managed to make that 911 call, even if it was just for a second, there's going to be a record of it. That one little digital footprint could be the thing that brings the whole piece speedy down on Willow's head. It's also really interesting to see how the other Quartermains are reacting to all this. Tracy is on the warpath as usual, and Chase is just trying to be a good guy while being used as a pawn. It's such a tangled web. You have the medical mystery, the romantic betrayals, and the corporate power struggles all happening in the same house. But at the heart of it is Drew, sitting in that chair, unable to speak, just watching his life be destroyed by the woman he loved. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? Even if you didn't like Drew before, you have to feel for him now. Being locked in is a living nightmare, and Willow is the one holding the key. Have you ever noticed how the most intense romances in Port Charles don't start over candlelit dinners at Metro Court, but over a blood-stained hospital chart or a high-stakes police investigation? We've all seen the sparks flying between Elizabeth Weber and Dante Falconeri lately, and it honestly feels like we're watching a slow-motion car crash of emotions that we just can't turn away from. But the real question we have to ask ourselves today is whether this is just a temporary partnership born out of trauma, or are we actually witnessing the birth of the next great General Hospital power couple? Think about it. Is it just a coincidence that these two keep ending up in the same room every time a major secret starts to unravel, or is there something deeper pulling them together? The rising tide between them isn't just about catching bad guys anymore. It's starting to look like a genuine gravitational pull that neither one of them can ignore. If you look at where they are right now, the setup for a romance is almost too perfect to be accidental. Elizabeth is currently the only person in town using her brain to realize that the strokes happening at the Quartermain house are a medical impossibility. She's looking at Drew Cain and Jack Brennan and seeing a pattern that everyone else is ignoring. But who does she turn to when her medical intuition starts screaming? She doesn't go to her boyfriend, Rick Lansing. She doesn't go to the Quartermains. She goes straight to Dante. This tells us everything we need to know about where her heart and her trust actually lies. Psychologically, Liz is a character who craves stability and truth after years of being surrounded by chaos. Dante represents that same grounded energy. He's a cop who values the law, and she's a nurse who values life. When those two missions align, the chemistry is undeniable. My opinion? The writers are finally giving Liz a partner who respects her intellect as much as her heart, and that is a breath of fresh air. The funny thing is, this whole investigative bond started with something as heavy as a shooting. Liz was the one who helped Dante uncover the devastating truth that his own son, Rocco, was the one who shot Ross Cullum. Think about the level of intimacy that creates between two people. She didn't just give him a tip. She held his hand through the worst discovery a father could make. Dante is currently feeling completely betrayed by the women in his life, specifically Lulu Spencer, who kept him in the dark about Rocco's involvement. He's enraged and blasting her for the lies, even wondering if they can ever come back from this. This creates a massive emotional vacuum in Dante's life. When a man feels like his primary partner has failed him on a fundamental level, he naturally gravitates toward the person who offered him the truth without judgment. That person is Elizabeth. Interpretively, we have to look at Liz and Dante as the truth-tellers in a town full of liars. Port Charles is currently drowning in deception. You've got Willow Tait putting on a world-class acting job as a grieving wife, while she's actually the one drugging her husband into paralysis. You've got Nina Reeves covering up accidental stabbings. In the middle of all that darkness, Liz and Dante are the only ones looking for the light. That shared mission creates a us against the world mentality that is the ultimate aphrodisiac in a soap opera. When you're the only two people who see the truth, you naturally start to see each other in a different way. It's not just about the case anymore. It's about the fact that they are the only ones who can rely on each other. But we have to talk about the elephant in the room, and his name is Rick Lansing. Liz is technically with Rick right now, but does anyone actually believe that's going to last? Rick is a character who lives in the gray areas of the law, whereas Liz is currently moving toward a very black and white sense of justice with Dante. The commentary from fans has been pretty clear. Dante feels like a better fit because he doesn't have the baggage of trying to manipulate her. The adventure of rescuing Drew together is going to be the final nail in the coffin for the Liz and Rick relationship. There is something incredibly romantic about a rescue mission. If Liz and Dante are the ones to break into the Quartermain house and find the proof that Willow is drugging Drew, that shared victory will solidify their bond in a way a normal date never could. Now, let's get into the psychology of Dante's current state. He is a man who is out of commission in a way because his personal life is a mess. His focus is on protecting Rocco from the WSB, and he's feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. Elizabeth is supporting that mission, and that kind of support is incredibly attractive to a man who feels like he's fighting alone. He's looking at Liz as a teammate, but teammate is often just a stepping stone to lover in these stories. The emotional insight here is that Dante is subconsciously looking for a safe harbor. Lulu is currently a source of pain and conflict for him, whereas Liz is a source of clarity and help. It's a classic case of a man moving away from the person who hurt him and toward the person who is helping him heal. However, we can't ignore the obstacles. Alexa Havens, who plays Lulu, has gone on record saying that Dante and Lulu are endgame. That is a massive shadow hanging over any potential Liz and Dante romance. In the world of soaps, endgame is a powerful word. It means that no matter who they date in the meantime, they will eventually find their way back to each other. So, is Liz just a placeholder for Dante until Lulu is fully back in the picture? That's the heartbreaking possibility here. Elizabeth has a history of being the other woman or the second choice, and I really hope the writers don't put her in that position again. She deserves to be someone's first choice. If they do go through with a romance, it needs to be treated as something real and lasting, not just a way to kill time until a Lulu reunion. What's really interesting is how Willow fits into this romantic escalation. Willow is currently playing a naughty nurse role, as Caitlin McMullen put it, and she's using her friendship with Liz as a shield. She sold Liz a sob story about being devastated over Drew's stroke. When Liz realizes she's been played, her anger is going to be explosive. And who is she going to vent that anger to?
Dante.
The betrayal from Willow will push Liz further into Dante's arms because he's the only person who will understand her frustration. They are both being lied to by the people they thought they could trust. That shared sense of betrayal is going to be the glue that holds them together. I honestly believe we are heading toward a micro cliffhanger moment where Liz and Dante have a realization that goes beyond the investigation. Maybe it's a look that lasts a second too long, or a moment where they are celebrating a breakthrough in the Drew case and the adrenaline turns into something more. The adventure of the rescue is going to be the catalyst. There is nothing like a life or death situation to clear away the confusion and show you who you really want to be with. If Dante is the one who helps Liz save Drew, he becomes her hero. And if Liz is the one who helps Dante save Rocco from the WSB, she becomes his. It's a reciprocal relationship that has a much stronger foundation than anything Liz has had in years. So, let's look at the escalation and conflict of this situation. Things are going to get much worse before they get better. Dante is still dealing with the fallout of the Nathan/Faison mess and his son's legal trouble. Liz is dealing with the medical mystery of Brennan and Drew. As these two cases merge, the tension will be through the roof. My prediction? We're going to see a near-miss moment soon. Maybe a kiss that almost happens before they are interrupted by news about Drew's condition. This slow burn is exactly what the fans want. We want to see them earn this relationship through shared struggle. The consequence of this romance, however, could be a total war between Liz and the women of the Spencer/Corinthos orbit. If Liz and Dante become a thing, Lulu isn't going to just sit back and watch. And Nina certainly won't be happy about Liz poking around in her business. Liz is essentially painting a target on her back by teaming up with Dante, but she's a Weber. She can handle the heat. The psychological layer here is that Liz is finally stepping into her own power. She isn't just a nurse or a mother. She's a woman who is taking charge of her life and her romantic future. The funny thing about Port Charles is that the characters often don't realize they're in love until someone else points it out. I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Tracy Quartermaine or even Rick Lansing is the one to call them out on their chemistry first. Rick is smart. He's going to notice that Liz is spending more time at the PCPD than she is with him. When the jealousy starts to flare up, it will force Liz and Dante to actually address what's happening between them. Do you think Rick will try to sabotage the investigation just to keep Liz away from Dante? It would be a very Rick thing to do, and it would only drive Liz further away. So, do you think Elizabeth is going to be the one to finally crack this case? Or will Drew find a way to save himself before she can get there? It feels like we're heading toward a massive confrontation where the perfect Willow mask is finally going to be ripped off for good. And when that happens, Port Charles will never be the same. I want to hear what you think in the comments. Is Willow too far gone to ever be a hero again? Or is there some way she can come back from this? And who are you rooting for in the Dante and Liz situation? Make sure you hit that like button if you're as obsessed with this storyline as I am, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a single update on all the General Hospital drama. There are so many more twists coming our way, and you definitely don't want to miss them. Thanks for hanging out and talking soaps with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.